In a world where Nickelodeon was airing hit after hit, there was one show that was very influential to kids at the time, SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob was released in the year 1999. We get a show about a talking sponge, a starfish, a squid, a crab, and a squirrel. SpongeBob was something the world had never seen before. When the show was released, it was an instant hit with audiences, although some weren't particularly into the show as others. But as the show started to get more and more popular as time went on, the show's quality went on a steady decline. If you ask people my age which season of SpongeBob they enjoy, most of them will say seasons 1 through 3 and maybe 4. Now, not to say that the show after those seasons are terrible, but there's just a certain tone and feel that the earlier seasons of SpongeBob gave off to us when we were younger. The feeling of happiness and fulfillment out of the littlest things in life, all the way up to the big precious things we sometimes take for granted. SpongeBob in the years 1999 all the way to 2007, where seasons 1 through 4 aired, SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and Sandy all felt like their own characters, and each one had a very distinct vibe to them, giving the show a great dynamic between not only these characters, but the side characters we meet in the show.
Stop shouting at Mappin! It's not me, old coot!
SpongeBob was an optimistic sponge that found joy in everything and just wanted the world to be happy and was always up to try new things. Patrick was an ignorant one of the group. He's known as the idiot on the show, but when the show does idiot in the first 4 seasons, they do it well. Not only just trying to give the kids something to laugh at because it's stupid, the show actually gives Patrick time to shine and not just be casted as an idiot all the time. Squidward is a self-centered, sarcastic, grumpy squid that wants nothing but peace for only himself and blames the world for everything that he puts himself through. Squidward wishes he was able to do more with his life but doesn't get anywhere, and he hates his neighbors. He's basically like the regular adult we all know in our lives. Mr. Krabs is a money-hungry businessman who owns what seems to be 2 of the 3 restaurants in the whole town called the Krusty Krab. He's an extreme cheapskate and will do anything for money, whether it's keeping it or obtaining it.
You'll never get a cent out of me! Never! I'd rather that word come in here right now!
Mr. Krabs goes to great lengths sometimes to avoid giving up money, and they make sure to make light of this in the first 4 seasons.
You have just given me my $1 million!
Huh, great. Well, what do I win?
Nothing! Now get out!
Sandy is a country squirrel from Texas and is all about her physical behavior, whether it's the likes of doing extreme sports, karate, and or being a science whiz, just to name a few. The show makes it a point to give everyone their time to shine and makes them all distinct from one another. As seen in the newer episodes of SpongeBob, we kind of see everyone acting the same, not giving anyone their own type of vibe. When you have characters like this in a show, you have to make it where the viewer is able to distinguish who is who and give the viewer the option to be able to find themselves in a character. Now, I know as a kid you're not thinking these things, but it kind of just happens self-consciously, and it kind of gets engraved in your head as a kid without you knowing. When you're a kid watching the show, you're just watching it just to watch it and have a good time being a kid. With the newer seasons coming out, there's one problem out of many that differs from the older ones. In the newer seasons, they assume the kids that are watching are dumb, which can argue nowadays kids are dumb, but dumbing down the show and making the show taking the rawness and integrity out of it does not make the situation any better. Now, you could say the quality of the show went down when the creator of the show, Stephen Hillenburg, left, but to me that still does not make the show as a whole go down, like there has to be something else causing the show to decline. But there are so many other videos on YouTube that talk about this point, and I'm just trying to explain to you why SpongeBob, in its first 4 seasons of its run, is labeled as the greatest show of all time. At least for me. The show was just so fucking funny. It was funny for no reasons at times, but that's what made the show great. You had unnecessary scenes like this, and scenes like this.
Blow this.
At times, they would draw something very realistic and find a way to incorporate it in the show, which added to the show's humor even more.
What? It's just an ordinary Krabby. Oh my goodness! Squidward!
The animation of SpongeBob when it first came out, It was mostly hand-drawn, which is very expensive to animate, and I understand. You have to grow with the time being, and computer-generated animation is way cheaper, but we have to find a way to be able to absorb and appreciate what the animators did with the hand-drawn animation in that time. Like I said, it gives it that certain feel and tone, and you can kind of see that in the animation from the way Spongebob looks all the way to how Larry the Lobster looks, and how the whole environment of the show felt down to earth and sort of felt like a second home to us. SpongeBob is one of those animated shows no one will ever forget. The power of the human brain is strong. Nostalgia is very strong. We as people use nostalgia to get away from our daily lives at that moment and reminisce on what once was and how it shaped us as the people we are today. Times were much simpler as a kid, but now that we're all growing up, you have to make sure to always remember these times. This is what this channel is all about. I'm constantly reminiscing about my childhood, but also always aware that in the present that I do need to handle my shit. So if anyone gives you shit about constantly reminiscing about old shows and nostalgic things, don't feel bad, because you need to be able to stand up to that person and tell them what's up and let them know. I got my stuff handled, and as long as I do, there's nothing you can say to me to make me change.